Have you ever wondered how to pitch your microgreens to chefs so that they buy again and again on a weekly recurring order? Well, there's one main reason that chefs are going to buy from you, just like they buy from me. We're going to cover that in this video, along with a breakdown of my website, which is essentially a sales page outlining the pitch that we give to chefs. Then we're going to break down exactly what I say in a chef meeting. And then finally, we're going to go over a summary of that in the follow-up email I send to chefs immediately after we meet. So let's dive in and take a look at my website. All right, so here it is, front and center. The main reason that chefs buy our microgreens again and again, and I hear this from every chef that I meet with, whether they work with us or not, is that the microgreens that they're getting from a distributor are turning to garbage after just a couple days. And that's because the microgreens that they are getting from a distributor have come from a large farm. There's hold time at the farm, then there's hold time at the warehouse, then it's on the truck, and then it finally gets to them. So because microgreens are perishable items, produce, they can last 10 to 14 days in general for very basic microgreens. And most of that time when they come from a distributor is used up in the distribution channels. So we work with chefs directly, providing microgreens within 48 hours of harvest, which means that we are giving chefs microgreens at the beginning of their usable life instead of at the end of their usable life. So the product we provide is higher quality just from the fact that it is going to last longer for them. That paired with the fact that we put chefs on a weekly recurring order and dial in their weekly order based on the season and how much they're using, so it's somewhat flexible. We essentially are pitching that chefs will always have the freshest greens on hand and they won't have to worry about going in the cooler and wondering if the microgreens that they just bought a couple days ago will be good for their busy weekend service. That's pretty much it. If you can deliver microgreens within a day or two of harvest or even same day, you are going to offer a superior shelf life, and that is the main reason that chefs will want to work with you. I'll go through my full website here because essentially this is the pitch that I give to chefs, but written out in written form on my website. Also, I have been in business for about 5 years, and I have been against having a website for so long, but I heard a quote that perfect marketing negates having to do sales. So essentially, if you can warm people up by having them consume your information and your pitch beforehand, it makes your close rate higher and it makes the sale much easier. So let's dive into the website. So again, microgreens for chefs without the waste. Join local chefs who choose microgreens that last by working directly with their farmer. This connects to a kind of like Calendly so they can schedule appointments. So here we are. We're just kind of highlighting the pain point. We're trying to word it in different ways. So are you frustrated if microgreens show up spoiled on arrival, they only last a few days, some of the uncertainty that they feel? Again, we're just trying to twist the knife a little bit and word it differently so that chefs can identify with one of these pain points. Again, the aspirational ideal that we provide is that not only do we have direct farm to table or chef relationships, but because of that, we offer product that lasts longer. Again, all of this website here is based off of the Story Brand framework. They have a free template on their website that you can use. I highly recommend that book by Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand, or the more concise follow-up, which is Marketing Made Simple. It outlines all of this. So if you're not going to sell to chefs, you can use that same framework for retail clients, grocery store, whoever you're trying to sell to. Spend some good time on that because, like I said, I've shifted my perspective and marketing is definitely important. So again, we're just trying to sell the aspiration of working with a local farm because they do a weekly recurring order and things just show up week after week. They're automating their microgreens. And then again, we're removing the worry of wasting greens or not having greens when they need them. Testimonials. Again, I don't really pitch testimonials when I'm meeting with a chef, but as we go through the website, testimonials or proof that people like to work with you or that your product is good is more powerful than any promise. You can say your stuff is good, but the fact that you have proof that shows it's good and other chefs enjoy your product is probably the most valuable thing you can get when you're starting your microgreens farm, is to build as much proof as possible. And then it makes closing deals and clients that much easier. And again, this applies for retail as well. When you're starting out and you don't have a lot of revenue, if you're going to give away samples to people, the best thing you can do is do it in exchange for a review, so that you have some text that you can use as social media. You can have them put it on Google My Business so that you build testimonials there. But this is something I didn't do for a very long time. I wish I had done it sooner, but I've now implemented a touch point in my onboarding with new chefs, where after about third or fourth week of delivery, I do a second follow-up where I check in to see how they're enjoying the product. If everything is good, that's when I ask for a review. And then again, like I said, I can plug that into a Canva template for social media. I can bank them to swap these out or add more as I get more over time. Again, proof is more powerful than promise, so collect as much as you can. But again, these are just highlighting from different perspectives. We have a sushi chef, we have a golf course, and we have kind of like a live music bar, that highlight different things between the quality of the product, the variety, the relationship, and then just customer service. So again, this is a little more long form on highlighting the frustrations, twisting the knife on the pain point, things that they have struggled with by ordering their microgreens from a distributor. And again, repeatedly, we're asking for the chef meeting. Since launching this website, have had, I think, 3 chefs self-schedule meetings, and of the ones who have self-scheduled, all of them have become customers. So instead of doing cold outreach and hassling chefs by kicking open the back door and asking who's in charge, if you're a little more introverted like me, again, the marketing can do the sales work for you, and then you just go in and do the full pitch and close. Again, this is just showing more proof of people that we work with. This is part of the StoryBrand framework, where we're just trying to have a simple 3-step process that takes them from where they are now reading this page to what we want them to do, which is to schedule a meeting and then place an order. Frequently asked questions are kind of a bonus, but these are a lot of the questions that I get during chef meetings. So you can see here, can I see your menu and pricing? I do not provide menu and pricing until after we have met. During the meeting, I will show them the microgreens we have and the prices that we have. But I use this as a lead magnet, as a way to collect the chef's direct contact information if I have not gotten that previously. And then what we really want to do is set chefs up on a weekly recurring order. So part of that's not quite how they work with their distributor. They're used to ordering it and getting the product the next day. And so to pitch that, we spin it in a way that's a benefit for the chef. So pretty much what I say when I meet with chef is that we only work with chefs on a weekly recurring order. It helps us plan production, which keeps our waste down, and then that keeps our prices down or competitive. However, we don't want you to waste product either, so you can cancel, skip, or change at any time. Just give us a heads up when you're ready to increase, because depending on the microgreen, there can be some lead times. We dial in your order to match the seasonality of Arizona dining. We have a stark drop-off in the summertime. It's too hot here. Not a lot of people are dining. A lot of people are on vacation out of town. So we see a big dip in the summer. We've been doing this for years. We understand that that's pretty normal. So we just want to make sure that they understand they're not locked into anything. It's more, I say, penciled in so that we can plan what they want. I've often hear, can I order multiple times per week? And again, this question is usually from somebody who has been getting product that doesn't last. They're ordering 2, maybe 3 times a week because they order it, it turns to garbage. They order it, it turns to garbage. So I've never had to do more than 1 drop off for chefs, and that's because our product lasts. We dial in how much they need. So it's just, I get that question a lot from people who are getting garbage product. Part of our pitch is that we don't charge delivery fees or order minimums. We want it we're trying to make the chef's life easier and not harder. So that's something that's applicable from a large distributor, because they're not going to drive a truck to deliver something if you're not ordering enough product. We have a weekly order with a standard or with a set drop-off day. So it's just kind of automated. If we're working with chefs or reaching out to them, they're likely in our delivery area. If somebody is not, or for some reason requested like a delivery day that isn't in line with our normal schedule, I might consider adding a small delivery fee, but that's something I would do on a one-off basis. So again, we highlight that our microgreens, depending on where they are in town, are delivered within 24 or 48 hours. Again, our product lasts 10 to 14 days. So even if we push to 48-hour delivery, people are going to have microgreens that last a lot longer. We set chefs up on a net 30 payment terms. So the reason we do this is because as we work with more larger resorts and hotels, golf courses, casinos, they're usually larger corporations that have an AP or accounts payable department. So there's somebody in accounting that the chef is going to send the invoice to, and then they're going to process it and cut a check and mail it, or use some other bill pay software. And so we have net 30 just because it takes time to process that. But once you get them set up, usually the money starts flowing in week after week from the invoices once you've kind of caught up to that lag time. Chefs sometimes ask how they can pay us. So like I said, we have AP departments that cut us checks. We have smaller restaurant business chef owners that like to write a check on delivery. And then we have several who save a credit card on our invoicing software. We use FreshBooks. And I like it because even though we offer net 30 terms, when people save a card, the software, FreshBooks software, will charge the card on file when the invoice is generated. And so they're not necessarily taking advantage of the 30-day payment. And I do like to warn people about that before they save a card. But what's great is that my invoices generate on Sunday so that I can use that information to prep labels for harvest on Monday, and then I deliver Tuesday, Wednesday. So while some people pay me, a month after delivery, some people are paying me several days before we even deliver the product to them. And I have had no complaints about that. I would say about 50% of my accounts do that, which is huge for me because then it's, every week I know I have a certain portion of our revenue coming in. I don't have to worry about when the checks are going to be mailed. Right now, we don't work with distributors. So again, part of the cornerstone of our pitch here is that distributors are kind of the bad guy. So like, we're David and they're Goliath, and we have an advantage by working directly with chefs. So at this point in time, I plan to grow as much as possible for my farm, working directly with chefs. Think of Jeff Bezos and Amazon. They own their own distribution. There is always a cost to distribution. We are a manufacturing business. We manufacture a widget from raw materials, and we have to distribute it to the end user somehow. The end user here with chefs is the person eating the food. So we can either have the cost of hiring our own delivery drivers, using our time to deliver, or the cost of, wholesaling product to a distributor so that they can upsell the product to the chef end user. So anyway, my stance on that right now is I'm going to grow as large as possible as I can, owning distribution in-house, as that is our advantage in the market. And then funny enough, I have not had a lot of referrals, but I have been trying to push this for a while, and I just got a referral yesterday. Essentially one of the chefs we started working with for an NFL team, she shared some of our microgreens with a new chef that has 2 restaurants in town. I'm meeting with them next week, but if they sign up for a recurring order, they get a $100 credit. And then when that happens, the person who referred them gets $100 cash. So in general, a restaurant client is going to be $3,000 to $4,000 per year in revenue. So I'm pretty comfortable to give up $200 of that to get a new customer and then make an existing customer happy. And then we do sell, we do wholesale some products. So we do get some random people on our website that are looking to use it for home use. And then again, just myself. So now that we've reviewed the core messaging on my website or landing page for chefs, you have an idea of what we're trying to communicate to chefs when we get FaceTime with them, because those are the things that are going to convert the most. So what I want to do now is run through exactly what I say in a chef meeting and kind of the structure and flow. So usually I open the chef meeting by asking what microgreens they're using already. I want to find out if they're using microgreens, what kind, and then also where they get them from. Again, we know that if they are ordering microgreens from a distributor, it's likely the shelf life is not very good for them, and that is the main reason that they're going to order from us. So I'm kind of trying to get a little information without just pitching directly to the chef and talking at them. I want to ask questions to uncover a pain point so that we can show that we have a solution for them. So if I find out that the chef is using microgreens from a distributor, it's usually a pretty easy sale. That being said, I have had instances where chefs were using microgreens from another small grower who had similar products, they had similar shelf life. That's happened once in all the times I've reached out or met with chefs, so that's not a major concern. And even if that is the case, you can usually still convert that lead or that chef by offering better customer service or offering products that are within your scope of growing that might be different from what that other person is offering. But again here, the main person we're up against is large distributors who have product that doesn't last. So that's going to be our target avatar, a person who is suffering with that problem. So if the chef isn't currently using microgreens, we want to ask follow-up questions and see if maybe they used them in the past but they got tired of using them because of the poor shelf life, or if they just aren't really into them. We can still kind of twist the knife and dial the same problem by other produce that they receive from the distributor, other leafy greens that might not last quite as long, might increase their food costs. So there's still an angle there. But once again, our key person is a chef ordering from a large distributor who has an issue with product stability. After the chef tells me that they're using microgreens from a large distributor, they have an issue with product shelf life, that's when I mentioned that our microgreens last 10 to 14 days in the cooler because we work directly with chefs, which allows us to deliver microgreens within 24 to 48 hours of harvest, meaning that our chefs get the microgreens at the beginning of their usable life and not at the end like when they order from a distributor. I also like to highlight, and only do this if this is true for you, that I hear it again and again from chefs who are using microgreens from a large distributor that their product doesn't last, and that is why some chefs have worked with us for over 5+ years, because they know that we provide excellent customer service and that our product truly lasts. And then after that initial kind of fact-finding or identifying their problem and talking how our product lasts, showing the transformation there, what I like to do is I have brought in several microgreen samples. It doesn't really matter what microgreen samples you bring. I like to bring at least 3 or 4 products, usually just whatever extras I have each week, that will allow me to highlight the quality of the product and to show that they truly do last as long as we say. I usually just show them what the product is, talk about the microgreen flavor profile for a little bit. If I have a red radish, I'll say that it's got a bright purple and green color, very bold, nice spicy flavor. If I have pea shoot, it tastes like a fresh garden pea. And whatever else I have a bright lights mix, which is a colorful mix. It's kind of like a general spring mix or just kind of a garnish. So that one's probably our most popular. I just talk very briefly, identify what it is, talk briefly about it. And this is not a point where you will teach the chef. You're not going to say, I looked at your menu and I think this would go good with this dish and go with this dish. This is not a diagnostic sale. Again, we are just trying to identify the problem, show the transformation, and prove the quality of our product by letting them try it. At this point in the chef meeting, some questions might come up. I try to head them off as quickly as I can and just kind of go through my bullet points. We have no delivery fee or order minimums. And then this is where I really want to explain the weekly recurring order, because this is key. I do not work with caterers. I do not work with people who want to change their menu every week. We want somebody who orders essentially the same thing every week. Again, it'll adjust with seasonality, but we want somebody who has a standard recurring order so that we can plan our production and then plan our revenue. So the way I explain this so it's a benefit for the chef is I say that we only work with chefs on a weekly recurring order so that we can plan our production, keep our waste down, and then keep our costs down so that our prices are competitive for them. However, I don't want the chef to waste microgreens or money either, so the order is truly flexible. They can skip, cancel, adjust at any time. If they have a large increase, it might take some time because we grow pretty lean, but if they need to skip a week, I would rather eat $20 to $50 a product to maintain a client that is worth $3,000 to $4,000 per year in recurring revenue. So I sum it up by saying that really the order is just penciled in so that I know what to grow and it makes life easy. I don't have to grow a bunch of stuff and then hope it sells. Next, I like to explain what delivery day they'll be getting microgreens. So we deliver on Tuesday and Wednesday. So depending on what geographical area the chef is in our town, they will be put on one of those days. Also depends on what their availability is for delivery windows. And again, we try and group it. This is usually when I get some questions about, do you deliver more than one day a week? And to me, this is an indication of somebody who has had microgreens that don't last. So they are ordering, it doesn't last very long, so then they have to order again. And I just explain that I have never had a chef that has needed more than one delivery per week, because the fact that our stuff lasts 10 to 14 days and the fact that we dial in their order amount for a weekly recurring order, they always have fresh, amazing greens in their cooler and they never have to worry if it's still good. So at this point, usually the chef is pretty interested in working with us. I've even had some say they don't even care what our prices are. They want to know how to order, and they start getting us set up with their accounting department, and then they finally place a verbal order. But this is where if I really need to highlight what things we are growing compared to what they're using right now and what I brought in, I like to pull up the menu on my phone and just show them some basic pricing, the basic structure. But what I want to do is use that menu as a lead magnet as a way to get their direct contact information. So if you've set the meeting directly with the chef, it's very likely you have their direct contact information. But if you are walking in the back door, if you are reaching out via Instagram or cold email or cold calling the restaurant and you don't have the chef's direct information right away, this is your opportunity to get their phone number and email, asking them what's their preferred method of contact. And then you can send a follow-up email, which we'll go over next, highlighting all the points we talked about with a live link to your menu so that they always have the most current version. I would say it's quite rare for somebody to order at the chef meeting. It's usually done in the follow-up process, which is why follow-up is very important. But again, the real point of the chef meeting is to really sell the quality of our product versus what they're getting, but then also to highlight how they need to work with you to fit your business model. And then I always say I will text you or email you the follow-up information with the menu as soon as I get back to my car. I do that as quickly as possible when I am done with the meeting. And then depending on when you have met with the chef versus your next planting day, if it's really close, I won't follow up that same week, but usually the next week early on, I will reach out, see if they had any questions, if they enjoyed the product we brought, and if they know what they want so that we can get it ready on their next planting day. Again, every week we plant on the same day, so that creates a new cohort and creates urgency for them to put their order in. Because we grow lean, they might have to wait longer if they wait to order because we don't have a lot of excess product on hand. Sometimes we do, and we try and get people started as quickly as possible, but if they want to start using us right now, they need to get us that verbal order as quickly as possible. So that brings me to how chefs actually order. So what kicks off our onboarding process for me is when a chef communicates verbally what they want on a weekly recurring order. So through our post follow-up email, through texting, all the follow-up you're gonna do with the chef, you always wanna get that baseline, what is it you want every week? And then once we get that verbal order, we are going to confirm if we have part of the order, if we have the full order right away, or if they have to wait until this date to get the first full order. But once we start, it will be weekly recurring, showing up as they need it without shorts so that they can rely on that product. So now let's take a look at the follow-up email that I send. That again is just a very brief summary of everything I cover in the chef meeting. And to be honest, you could use that email as bullet points when you're getting started out to remind yourself of the things to talk about during the chef meeting. So now what we're going to do is go through the email that I send to chefs right after we meet. And again, this is just kind of summarizing the points that we talked about. So really it's just a very brief summary of the pitch that we give to chefs. So take a look here. It says, "Hello, it was a pleasure meeting you today. Here is a link to our current menu." And then I put a live link to our website so I don't have to manage what PDF version of the menu is active. By providing a live link, I can update and they always have the most current. Here are a few reminders about our farm. We have no delivery fee, no order minimum, 10 to 14 day shelf life. Again, that's key. We do a weekly delivery. We have all year availability. The payment terms are net 30 and they can pay by card, check, or have their accounting department cut a check. Again, we set chefs up on a weekly recurring order so that we can plan production, keep waste down, which helps us keep prices down for you. You can skip weeks, cancel, or change the order anytime. We don't want you to have waste either. So take a look at the menu and let me know if there's anything that we can get started for you on our next planting day. We're looking forward to working with you. And then my information. And then P.S. You can place your initial order via email, call, or text. We grow lean, so we will let you know when to expect your first full order, and then after the initial order, your product will show up weekly on your delivery day unless changes are communicated. So this is just a really brief summarization of everything we talked about with the chefs during our meeting. And again, the key to the chef meeting is to make sure that you get their direct contact information. And at the end of the meeting, we are saying that we're going to send our menu to them, and that's what this email is doing. But again, we are collecting their contact information to get that. And that allows us to follow up every week before planting day until they tell us to buzz off or they order from us. If you want a copy of this follow-up email that I send to chefs, take a look in the description and see how you can get your copy. Before you pitch chefs in person, you're probably wondering how you should price and package your microgreens. So if you want to see how I price and package my microgreens for chefs, check out the video where I break down the secret version of the website we just went over that has pricing information for chefs. I break down the logic of grouping different microgreens in different pricing groups. Check it out and happy growing.